Hello, Assalamualaikum. Today I will be presenting on a article titled Workforce Factor Influencing Psychological Safety in Malaysia in Malaysian Organisation, written by Ilyas Sabrina and Nur Nafiza Ramli. The purpose of this study is to examine the factors that influence psychological safety among employees in Malaysia. Psychological safety refers to a situation where employees feel comfortable to express their ideas, share opinions, and admit mistakes without fear of negative consequences. This topic is important because in modern workplace, especially after the pandemic, employees experience higher stress level. A psychologically safe environment helps to improve communication, teamwork, and overall performance. The main research question of this study is to identify what workplace and individual factors affect psychological safety among Malaysian employees? Okay, so moving on to the methodology. This study uses a quantitative research design to examine the relationship between different variables. Data was collected through an online questionnaire distributed to full employees across Malaysia, with approximately 200 responses obtained. The researchers use purposive and convenient sampling methods to select participants who are currently working in organizations. All variables were measured using a 10-point Likert scale, which allows respondents to express their level of agreement more accurately. The data was then analyzed using SPSS, including descriptive analysis correlation and regression analysis and many more. The main variable in these studies include work-family conflict, inclusive leadership, psychological empowerment, team learning behavior, and leadership strategies, while psychological safety is the main outcome of being studied. Okay, so moving on to the discussion. In this section, I will explain the findings based on several analyses conducted in the study. First, for the demographic analysis, the results show that the majority respondents are female, followed by male respondents. In terms of age, most participants fall within the 26 to 39 years old group, which represents the middle working population. The respondents also come from different education levels and job positions, showing a fairly balanced distribution across management levels. Next, the reliability test was conducted using Cronbach Alpha to measure consistency. The result shows that reliability values are low, which indicates that the measurement items may not highly consistent. This suggests that respondents may have interpreted some questionnaires differently, which can affect the accuracy of the result. For the descriptive analysis, the study found that the level of work-family conflict among employees is moderate. This means that employees do experience some level of difficulty in balancing work and family responsibilities, but it is not at an extreme level. Then, the normality test shows that the data is not normally distributed. Although this may introduce some bias, the study continues to further analysis because regression can still be used despite minor violations of normality assumptions. Moving on to the correlation analysis. The result indicate that there is a weak relationship between work-family conflict and psychological safety. This means that changes in work-family conflict do not strongly influence psychological safety in the workplace. Finally, the regression analysis shows that the overall model is not statistically significant and explains only a very small percentage of the variation in psychological safety. None of the variables were found to be significant predictors. Overall, these findings suggest that while work-family conflicts exist among employees, it does not have a strong impact on psychological safety, and other factors may play a more important role. So moving on to the critical analysis. In terms of strength, this study focuses on this Malaysian context, which is valuable because workplace culture in Malaysia can be different from other countries. It also includes several important variables giving a broader view of psychological safety. However, there are some limitations that should be considered. First, the study reports low reliability values, which means the measurement used may not be consistent. This can affect the accuracy of the findings. Second, the results are not statistically significant. which weakens the overall conclusion of the study. Third, the use of convenience sampling may cause bias, as the respondents may not fully represent all employees in Malaysia. Finally, the model explains only a very small percentage of psychological safety, which suggests that important factors such as organizational culture or management style were not included in the study. Overall, while the study provides useful insights, its findings should be interpreted carefully due to these limitations. So moving on to relevance and application. This study is relevant to a real-world organization, especially in the field of human resource management. It shows that organizations should not only focus on reducing work-family conflict, but also improve other aspects such as leadership styles and workplace communication. For example, managers can practice inclusive leadership by encouraging employees to share their ideas openly and creating a supportive environment. This is important because psychological safety can improve employee engagement, teamwork, and overall organizational performance. In Malaysia, where many organizations have hierarchical structures, creating a safe environment for communication is even more important. So moving on to the final part, which is the conclusion. So, in conclusion, this study examines the factors influencing psychological safety among Malaysian employees. The finding shows that although work-family conflict exists, it does not significantly affect psychological safety. The study highlights that other workplace factors may have a stronger influence on employees' willingness to speak up and communicate openly. Despite some limitation, this research provides useful insights for organizations to improve workplace environment and employee well-being. So that concludes my research for today. Thank you very much.